It says here that Steve Chick's response to the project is that if we didn't do it, the millions of dollars already spent on the project would be in vain and the project would be wasted. Is that true? I mean, is everything that's been done over there over the years, would that all?
That's the rest of the drain that they have done. The Ensign drain is the last portion that ties into the Gearing Valley
But I mean,
project.
is he talking about the whole Gearing Valley project? But I mean, would that, I mean, surely that all wouldn't be wasted, would it? I mean, don't that do some benefit now?
Now we get a lot of, you know, and I've been, not so much right there at the Ensign drain, but this has been several years ago, when we were doing custom weed harvesting. We were over there during a rain, and most of us have seen that. The Ensign drain, the depth of it and so forth, and water was actually going over the top. You know, I mean, when you get a rain out there, everything drains toward that and everything just starts multiplying. And so this is the last of the project to make that everything else work.
All this information is coming from a study that was conducted in 1961 and anecdotal stories and information that I've heard. Is there a modern study that takes into account statistical data based on actual rainfall, actual damages that have been suffered by this area that you're discussing? And if not, can we get some? Can we have a study done to determine whether or not this is truly necessary? It is stimulus money, and stimulus money is supposed to be transparent. It's supposed to be explainable according to our president. And right now, I don't understand why there isn't more information that's modern, that's based on the last 20 years instead of something that's from 1961. Anecdotal information is one thing, but is that enough to justify spending $2.2 million in stimulus funds when this project, was placed on hold for 40 years?
It's my understanding that some preliminary design work was done back in the 80s or 90s, and probably some USDA engineers did some work on modeling the runoff, and so the information as far as the potential for the runoff, I think, doesn't date back to the 50s or 60s. I think the original work for the entire Gearing Valley Drain project probably was done long ago. But my recollection is that some of the USDA engineers had done some work as part of the preliminary design work. Is that right, Dallas?
Right. It was all done basically from the office, you know, using the topographic and interpolating the contours to design it. We feel the size of it is pretty good. We don't know precisely where it's going to be. But the rainfall event that is used for these type of projects is a 100-year storm. 4.4 inches over 24 hours is what that calculates out to be, and that's based on Weather Service data from historical rainfalls. Now, the thing of it is, you can't predict when that's going to be. Is that going to be tomorrow, or is it going to be 100 or 200 years from now? So basically, these kind of projects are like insurance policies. You put them out there, you hope that maybe you don't need to use them, but if you do, you're really glad you have them, and that's kind of the way they work.
It would be real helpful if the board had an opportunity to look at some of these. I don't know if Steve would be willing to give us a little more time to make this decision, but it seems to me that it might be good to see some things on the ground, and there are a handful of other dams already out there where the berms similar to what we're talking about tonight have been constructed. What again are the dimensions of this? Now to put this in perspective, this is the very upper end of the project, and we're talking about creating a berm of sorts that would divert water toward the dam that's already existing along the south edge of the hills over there west of Dome Rock.
It would force the water
and
to
below
flow
the dam
opposite.
is the drain that comes out.
Right.
Part project also involves filling in our canyon. And that is a part of the project that we are particularly disturbed by.
Filling in what's that again?
Our canyon,
Okay,
filling in our canyon.
cross it.
Yeah, so it can be bridged over the top. That is disturbing to us, our canyon being filled in like that. And all that gets to is landowner the rights. This is land that we love, this is land that we use, that we appreciate, and we don't want our canyon filled in. I don't know how else to say it. And that seems to be an integral part of the project.
How much area are we talking about?
I think
Acres or?
Dallas may be able
Square
to
feet.
answer that. We were told it'd be a mile long. We have about 40 acres of that land, and it's gonna come right off the fence of the National Monument and go snaking across the land. It's gonna be filling in our canyon and crossing that, going clear across toward the Workman's property, and it'll be about a mile long. And I'm hearing lots of different dimensions for this easement and for the berm itself and the ditch. But, you know, we were told that it would be an easement of 300 feet wide, which is the length of a football field, for a mile. And an easement, and I know that's not gonna be the whole ditch, just the ditch or the berm exactly, but that's the mass and the area of the destruction that will happen because of the dump trucks and all of the heavy equipment that'll have to be out there. And so for us, it's not just about the berm, it's about the amount of prairie that's disturbed that will turn to weeds if the agency doesn't do a lot of work to make sure that it doesn't turn to weeds. I mean, that's a lot of work to try to bring prairie back to natural state.
The design that we have shows that 300-foot width would be about 300 or 400 feet long out of the whole thing, and it is in the area of the canyon. The rest of it was a 150-foot easement, but like I said, we don't know that we're going to need all that. But at this point, that's where it sits at. The diversion starts out at 41 feet wide. It's like a terrace, is what it's going to look like, and it'll end up 71 feet wide.